Do you remember Pokemon Sleep? The Pokemon mobile app they announced 2 years ago and then kind of didn't say anything else about? Well, we've got a little bit of an update and much more. Let's take a look. Yo, whoa, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka A-Drive. I bring you guys a brand new video today, and today we are diving into the world of Pokemon Legends Arceus, Pokemon Sleep, Pokemon BDSP, and really everything. This is just a whole shebang of news video and all sorts of Pokemon nonsense. So if you guys enjoyed, of course, hit that like button down below and make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 1 million A-Drive Army members here on YouTube, and get in before 1 million so you can say that you're one of the cool kids for when I have 20 billion subscribers in the year 2025, when Pokemon Sleep may actually come out. Anyway, a lot to talk about here. Let's just dive in. Lots of good stuff. The first thing I'm going to talk about is BDSP, and that is we actually have a post on the Pokemon Center website of a Sinnoh Champion Team protection case by Nintendo Switch from Power A. And on this case, it is Sinnoh Champion's team, which is Cynthia, of course, and it depicts her Platinum Champion team, not her Diamond and Pearl Champion team. So, Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl is coming out in a few weeks. You can pre-order in the link in the description, by the way. And a lot of questions of what are the tie-overs between Platinum and whatnot. And this is good. This clearly depicts that it's her Platinum team. And for those who don't know the difference between the two teams is her Diamond and Pearl team have Gastrodon on it, pink Gastrodon, which by the way, blue Shellos, best Shellos. But her Platinum team has Togekiss instead. So you can see this art depicts Spiritomb, Milotic, Togekiss, Garchomp, Lucario, and then Roserade as the last one. So a little bit of information. I don't know how much anyone actually cares, but again, there's going to be some Platinum influence in this game, which I think we all kind of knew. I thought this is worth mentioning though. So we know Champion Cynthia, her team does have the Togekiss on it and not the Gastrodon, and that's again because blue Shellos, best Shellos. Moving forward, the Pokemon Sleep update, and we've got, like I said, a lot to cover in this video, but there's some information here that 2 years after its announcement, Sleep release seems to be approaching. There are tests being done on the Japanese site of the Pokemon Company for Pokemon Sleep, and we see these domain names and these subdomain names that have been pinged or registered. I don't really know a ton about the kind of the back end of websites and stuff like that, but this was covered by a handful of different people, from Kelios to Eclipse, among other kind of people in the news, rumor, Pokemon realm. So ultimately, someone who knows more than I do can address this, but there's something going on with the domain for Pokemon Sleep, the Japanese domain for Sleep. So don't be surprised if we get some sort of announcement soon. And maybe there's going to be connectivity between Sleep and BDSP. For those who don't know what Sleep is, again, it was announced 2 years ago. It was been very vague in terms of what Sleep is going to entail. But long story short, it's supposed to be like Pokemon Go, but for when you sleep. So based on how your sleep goes, they're going to track your sleep patterns and things like that. And they're trying to gamify sleep to encourage people to get a healthy night of sleep and things like that. I really like what the Pokemon Company has done with things like Pokemon Smile for brushing your teeth. And obviously they've got Pokemon Go, which for, you could attribute to fitness and people are trying to get active. So we'll have to see how this all plays out. Again, they've been very tight-lipped about what actually Pokemon Sleep is going to be. So we don't really know a ton, but I know it's been something a lot of people have wondered about. And it seems as though this is still on the docket. Wouldn't be surprised if we got some information very soon. In fact, they may drop like a Pokemon Direct early next month to kind of cap off whatever their announcements are for BDSP. Maybe figure out some way to tie in Legends Arceus and BDSP. And ultimately maybe cover Sleep. So like I said, keep an eye on the channel. Make sure you guys have the notifications turned on for the channel, and we'll see what happens. But Sleep is coming. It's gonna happen, so get ready for it. The next thing I want to mention here, Ball Guy Leaks, who's been talked about a lot in the community in terms of someone who seems to have some rumors or leaks going on with Pokemon Legends Arceus. They come out with a new post and they said some Pokemon moves are designed to hit the trainer as well during normal battles. Trainers can faint from this more soon. Specifically designed for this reason, like a secondary effect. These types of moves are for the Legends games, and they also go on to say that this can be impacting old moves as well. It's not just new moves. Now, this isn't really news, right? Like, if you watch the last trailer with Zoroark, they kind of show this because Zoroark uses a move and it hurts the trainer. The trainer falls back. I don't know if you caught that, but it was worth noting. And we know from these games that the trainer has their own HP bar as well, which is crazy. We also know that there's an item that allows you to basically not lose items in your bag if you have it. So it seems as though Legends Arceus is going to be like a very survival type game where you very well could get injured yourself and faint yourself. Not just your Pokemon, but you as the trainer can faint, which adds a whole new level of depth to gameplay that we've never seen before. So I thought I would bring this up. Again, it's kind of weird that Ball Guy posted this because they've been posting riddles and rumors and things like that, leaks. This isn't really a leak though, like we just saw this. If they posted this like a week ago, then maybe, but this almost feels like out of place, and in a way, like almost makes you feel like it discredits Ball Guy in a way. But I thought it was worth mentioning, not only that they tweeted it, but that I feel like this was glossed over by myself and many other people. The trainer does take damage from various moves, so we'll have to see. And again, we know that Legends Arceus isn't really about like playing against other people online or whatever. So I think that this is an interesting perspective. And again, it adds a whole new layer of depth to what Legends Arceus could be in that survivalistic aspect of playing through the game. And speaking of the concept of like, there's no online connectivity and things like that, we can start these conversations about Generation 9. And listen, I'm the first to say that it's hard for me to wrap my head around the idea that BDSP comes out in November, Legends Arceus comes out in January, and then we would get a Generation 9 at the end of next year. Again, that to me just sounds a little far-fetched, but when you really break it down and you think about it, it's not all that crazy, right? So bear with me. So Eclipse posts about this, that Sword and Shield is really old, and then they go to say that, listen, this is something we know, that Game Freak Studios splits their team into 2 teams, right? We know this. This is how it's always been, or at least in the last however many years. They split their team into 2 teams. One team works on the newest game and the next team works on the remakes. This time, they outsource the remakes to ICLA, I think they're called, which is the developers of Pokemon Home. They're making BDSP. So that means they have 2 teams internally. One is working on Legends Arceus. What is that second team working on? Well, that leads us to the potential of a Generation 9. And it could be coming sooner than we might think. And again, I know this is getting ahead of ourselves, but when you break down, okay, listen, there's another team that's being active in Game Freak and they're working on something. They're probably working on Generation 9. Then we talk about the competitive aspect of the Pokemon franchise, the TCG aspect of the Pokemon franchise, the anime aspect. All of these wheels that are constantly turning in the Pokemon franchise, they need to add new content, new games, new generations, etc. to keep those turning. So it actually does make some sense that a Generation 9 would come. And listen, I'm the first guy to say I don't know about it, but it does make some sense that a Generation 9 could come next year because of all those pieces. When we look at the competitive side of things, Sword and Shield is very old, very stale. They're keeping the competitive format on Sword and Shield for another year, basically, right? And at that point, they are basically killing off any competitive scene that they would have, right? Like, no offense to the VGC players out there, but I think that they would agree that we're approaching what's gonna be year 3+ on Sword and Shield competitive. And they generally do release new generations every 3-ish years anyway. So I'm not gonna completely write this off, and I think that all of our questions will be answered come February anyway. We've got Legends Arceus dropping in January. They're not gonna announce a Gen 9 until Pokemon Day. So I would say that that's something to keep on, you know, kind of our thoughts in terms of what could happen, and not completely write that off as an opportunity. The more I think about it, the more I break it down, the more I think it makes a lot of sense that a Generation 9 would actually come fall next year. So a lot to unpack with the news, and obviously I'll keep giving you guys updates here on the channel. We got Cynthia's team, Pokemon Sleep update coming very soon, most likely, and then the thoughts of Gen 9 and much, much more. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown video. If you did, hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. My name is Dan. I also go by A-Drop, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.